I made this JIRA tutorial how to, um, get your JIRA set up, create projects in JIRA, everything for beginners step by step. I made this, I think that was 2 years ago. But as of last month, JIRA just optimized their tool and it's a whole new view now. Almost everything has changed in their JIRA tool. So I thought, okay, it may be wise to you're the first cohort experiencing that. Why not help you, navigate that the new user experience? So that's why I am okay with doing this in class. But I don't normally do your homework for you in class, so please keep that in mind. All right. So you have this document inside your folder, your class drive that I've put together just to help you, make your life easy. So this is for JIRA, how to get your JIRA set up. The link, click on this link, it will take you to where you would now configure it on your device. Well, let me start this from scratch. Let me just go ahead and start this. So, team, what we are looking to do right now is, since JIRA has, improved and optimized their user experience as of few months ago, we want to now also update our training, our tutorial on JIRA, especially for beginners, just to be able to help people that are new to JIRA or new to this new user experience be able to navigate from a project manager perspective. So this training we're about to do is for leaders like project managers, Scrum Masters, IT project managers, program managers, anybody who uses this JIRA tool to track the progress of the project, and track issues. This training is going to really help you. So please make sure you watch to the very end. After that, feel free to pause. When you're watching the video, feel free to pause it and apply it and practice it on your own. So after we are done with this, you should be able to, set up your JIRA. You should be able to create new projects in there. You should be able to create user stories and plan sprints in JIRA and manage your work successfully as a leader. Is that clear? Are we good with that? Let me know if you have any question before we get started. Any question? All right, I guess the silence is no questions. All right, let's get going. So the first thing you want to do is you click on this link to get your JIRA configured. So once you click on this link, it's going to bring you to this website. So once it brings you to this website, so what I'm going to do, I'm not gonna get a new one set up because I already have it. I already have my JIRA, but this is where that's what you would do. You click on this link, it will bring you here. And once it brings you here, all you need to do is just follow the instructions. You put your email, your normal email, and then you signed up because you don't have an account yet. But if you do have an account already, you click log in. In my case, I do have an account. So you can either also choose to sign up through your Google, which you will not need to put in any password on anything, or your Microsoft or Slack or Apple, whatever works for you. Now, in my case that I already have an account, I just need to log in. So instead of logging in, because I had it bookmarked, I'll just go to my bookmarks and then I would go to my JIRA. This is JIRA here. So that's it. So once you follow those steps, right, it will create an account for you. Now, once you create an account, the very first thing you will need to do is create a project. Are you following? Confirm if you're following, please, so I know that
Yes, please.
all right then. So you will need to create a project. Now, in my own space here, I already have existing projects. I just want to create one more project to sing for the sake of the training. So you see, in JIRA, their main menu is usually on the left side. Their main menu concerning the entire JIRA tool is usually on the left side, like you can see here. So to create a project, this is where you find projects, you see. So you just click this plus button. You should be able to start creating a new project. to see other existing projects, but in your case, you will not have existing project because you're just starting. But in my case, now say you've been hired to work in an organization, they usually already have projects there. To see other projects, just click on this arrow button and you see the existing projects here. Now, I'm just going to hide it back and let's create a new project. So click the plus button. It's going to bring you here. You see where I showed you need to log in, create an account. When you created that account, assuming you create that account, this is where it would bring you. Once you create that account, it will bring you to something like this. Now, one of the main changes that JIRA has done is JIRA has added a whole bunch of different templates for projects, depending on the kind of projects that you're doing. You see, say for example, all these things were not here before. So these are all the new enhancements that JIRA has done to its tools. Now, once you get into this JIRA tool, you realize that it will, by default, pull these templates for you to choose one and go with. But none of these two templates are the ones that I'm interested in. If you pick this template, it's going to give you a different thing. We are a Scrum team or an Agile team. So I'm going to be looking for a project that is related to Agile. And most of the time, a project that is related to Scrum, specifically Agile Scrum, is software development. You see that there is a template for, no, this one is bundles, custom template. You can now, this one is really for companies, big enterprises. You can select this one and then customize it to fit your needs. Software development is the project that we are a Scrum team. So most Scrum teams do work on software development. That's why they are a Scrum team, because the work is so complex and Scrum is designed to fit complex projects, which software development is a complex project. That's why every time you hear about Scrum, you will also commonly hear about software development. So that's why we will select this, but I'm just going to talk through this ones first before we come back and select this template. Service management. Let's say if you are a team that is working on service management, let's click on that one. You see these are the different templates that I've pulled up for you, different categories of service management. So if you want to track the work you are doing as a service management organization, you just come here and pick any of these templates. This is a blank template. You can build it however you want. General service management, basic IT service management, IT service management. You see, there are different things. Sales service management. If you are a sales organization or a sales team, this. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you that. Work management is another one. Product management. If you're a marketing team, these are the different templates. I'm telling you, JIRA didn't have all of this before. They have done a fantastic job enhancing their tool to make life easy. If you are a non-profit organization, these are the templates for you to use to be able to manage the progress of your work and track issues. Now, our concern is software development. That's our own area. So you see, I've clicked on software development. As you can see, there are different templates for us to pick from. You see, we have Kanban, Scrum, top level planning. These ones are all premium versions. Cross team management, product discovery. Our priority, I don't want to confuse you, or our focus here is only Scrum because we are a Scrum team. So I'm going to select on Scrum. Once I select on that, I click on use templates. See right here, or you click the one on top. Once I click on use template, it's going to bring me here. I scroll down and you see it has two options. Select a team managed project, and then it also has select a company managed project. Because it's a free version, it's only giving me option to select a company managed project. I mean, a team managed project, not a company managed project. So I'll select a team managed project. So once I select that, it's now asking us to put the project name. Our project name is Scrum Master Training September cohort. Kind of way of writing is this. Scrum Master Training September cohort. That's our training. That's our project name. Now, one thing you notice is, as I was putting in the project name, JIRA has automatically generated a key for us, an identity for our project, just by, he went with the name. If you notice, it's M, Master T, Training S, September code. It does that. But if you don't like the key, you can change it. But I usually go with it. And that's it. So once you enter, that's the only thing you need to enter there. That's all. And then you click on create project down below here. It's thinking right now. All right. So I've clicked on create project. Now it's asking me to invite your team members because you need to give access to your team members, right? Are you following?
Yes, please.
All right then. They say bring your team along, add people you've already worked with in JIRA or invite someone new. So now at this point, you think about who are the people that are going to be working on this project? Who are my team members? Then you go ahead and add them here. You can always add them later, but me, I like to do things clean. So I go ahead and add them. Let me see who else am I going to add here. Anyway, I think these two people are good for now. All right. So that's it. So their role is administrator. So these two people can actually make changes in your project. There are different roles. Now, once you enter, so you add them by email though. You put in their email, they will receive a notification in their email, and then they will click the link to now access the project. That's how it works. And then you click on invite and continue. Now, this is the project you just created. This is brand new. You see, as you can see, it's empty. Now, one of the biggest changes that JIRA has made from their previous user interface is before all this menu, this project menu you see here was all on the left side, in addition to their, well, no, their main menu. You see all these ones that are on the left, that's what I call main menu. It was all in the middle, front and center here. And then the sub menu or the menu specific to the project was on the left. But now they have switched it. Now their main menu about the project is on the left. And then the sub menu pertaining to the specific project is on top, front, and center. All of this here. You see, that's one big change. But again, you don't need to worry about that because you didn't even know the previous version in the first place. So just know that this is how it looks right now. So guys, that's all. You've just created your project. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to create what people call requirements, the work you're going to be doing, right? But we call them work items. So what are we going to do? There's something called the product backlog. JIRA just calls it backlog. If you notice, we are actually in the board view right now, or sprint backlog, but JIRA calls it board. Keep that in mind. So we want to be in the backlog view. So I'll click there. JIRA has also automatically generated the first sprint for us, sprint one. You see, we didn't create this. JIRA created it for us because it knows that we want to work in sprints. We are a Scrum team, so it has assumed that we need to start with sprint one. So let's forget about that. Right now, what we want to do is create the user stories, or you call them work items. How do you create user stories? You create user stories from the backlog. You put them in the backlog. So you can see this is a backlog here. So you see where it says create. I want you to see this tool as you're using your phone. It's easier to use these tools than using your mobile phone, really, because JIRA has made things very easy for us. So now click on the create button here, the create icon. Then a space will come up for you to type. The way our level 1 program is structured, we have 8 user stories to complete to finish this program. And what are those 8 user stories? Chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, up until chapter 8. Right? And then we are done with the program. So we will spend the first 2 weeks of our program to complete chapter 1 to 4. That's going to be our sprint 1. We are going by 2-week sprints, iterations. Then we will spend the second 2 weeks of the sprint to complete sprint 2. And then we are done with the project. You see? So what we want to do right now is we want to create user stories for all, we want to create all the user stories for the entire life cycle of the project. So now that I have this space here, I'm just going to type in it, chapter 1, because that's the first user story. Or work items. You want to call them work items, is still okay. You want to call them user stories, is okay. But in the waterfall world, they call them requirements, if you're familiar with that one. All right, so that's it. And then I'll click create. A space has opened for me to type the next one, chapter 2. I click create or enter. It's still the same thing. Oh, I need to edit this. Chapter 2. Oh. No, let me go back to this view. You see, I'm just going to be teaching you step by step of the things that are relevant to your role. This tool is massive, but we're only focusing on what is relevant to your role as an agile leader, a Scrum Master, a project manager, all of that. That's what we are focusing on. And then chapter 3. Chapter 4. Okay. Chapter 4. Chapter 5. Chapter 6. Chapter 7. And chapter 8. All right. So what we just did is we just create all the user stories. But keep in mind that these are just the summary, the shell of the story. As we go through this program, when we get to writing user stories, we'll now come and start developing these user stories and adding more information. Like if you click on this link, you see that there is that's chapter 1. You see that it's a whole template that you need to fill out. So again, we are only in chapter 2. When we get to chapter 3, chapter 4, you will learn more about user stories, what they mean and everything. So don't worry about that. My goal right now is just to make sure that you know how to create a project in JIRA. You know how to create work items in JIRA. That's the goal for today. That's all I need you to know. So yeah, so this is a template. Let's say you want to write a complete user story. You need to come here and enter more information, but that's not our focus for today. So I'm just going to leave that alone. So now we've created all the user stories. So I'm going to take a quick pause and see if anyone has any question before we move on to planning our sprint 1. Any questions so far, please? Right then. So at this point, we want to plan our sprint 1. And someone saying something? Okay, at this point, we want to plan our sprint 1. Remember, I said, since we have 4 weeks in this program, we will be running 2-week sprints. Our first sprint will be completing chapter 1 to 4. And then in our second sprint, we will be completing chapter 5 to 8. And then we are done with the program. That's how we are structuring our work. So sprint 1, this is it right here. When does the sprint 1 start? So how do you create a sprint in the first place? Now, JIRA has actually created a sprint for us, but we need to make sure all the information JIRA has assumed is correct. The way you do it is you come to these 3 dots, click these 3 dots, and then click edit sprints. Yeah, I like the sprint name. It's okay. Duration at sprint is 2 weeks duration. So instead of going with custom that JIRA suggested, I'm picking to select 2 weeks. When does the sprint start? Our sprint actually started on the 9th. That was the first day of our class, right? Tuesday. Correct?
Yes, please. You started Tuesday.
All right then.
Yeah.
All right. So we've selected the 9th. JIRA has automatically adjusted it for 2 weeks. So this sprint will end on the 23rd of September because we've selected 2. So JIRA has put in this one for me. I didn't do it. So here is where you enter the sprint goal. This is extremely important. This sprint goal is what you want to achieve
Sorry. All right.
for the. Are you saying something?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. All right then. So this is where you enter the goal. That is, this will justify why you're doing all the work you're doing for that 2 weeks. Say, for example, in our case here, we want to complete chapter 1 to 4. So I can come up with a goal to say something like um, complete all the foundation of agile and Scrum to be grounded with our Scrum or with agile knowledge and improve our readiness for the exams. See, this is just something I just came up with based on why we are here in this program. You see, because chapter 1 to 4 actually covers what Scrum is, Agile and Scrum is about. And then chapter 5 to 6 mostly really has little or nothing to do with the standard Scrum. So you may not even need that for your exams, but that's everything else that you need to know, that interviewers expect you to know, the job expect you to know. That's what we covered in chapter 5 to 8, you see. So that's it. You click on update. Now we've actually updated the sprints. So what we're going to do next, so we've created the sprints, you see. Now what we want to do is we want to now move the user stories that we're going to be working on in order to achieve that sprint goal into the sprints. So how do we do that? There are different ways, but one of the easiest ways is I just like to click, hold, and then drag it and drop it in the sprints. That's all. So we're going to be working on 4 user stories, chapter 1 to chapter 4. So I'm just clicking, dragging, and dropping in there. Well, let me leave this chapter 4. Let me show you another way that you can move it into the sprints. That's one way. The second way you can move this work item into the appropriate sprint is you right click. You see, I right click. This is what you get when you right click. Where it says move work items, you select where you want them to go. It's suggesting the sprint. You can say top of the backlog, wherever you want to put it, but I want to put it in the sprints. So I put it there. You see, it has moved here. There are many different ways, but those are the 2 ways that I'd like you to know right now. That's it. Now we have all our user stories in our sprints. Our sprint is ready. So now we are pretending like the sprints didn't start, but the sprints actually already started on Tuesday. But in this case, we are assuming that today is the first day of the sprints and we are planning the sprints. So now what we do is you're going to start the sprints. So you click on start sprints. So it's asking you to confirm to make sure all this information is correct. Remember, we just entered all this information and it doesn't hurt double checking. That's what JIRA is encouraging us to do. So I've double checked. I'm like, yeah, it's good. And then I click on start. That's it. We just started our sprints. So now what we as developers, what you're going to be doing every day as your developers, as they are doing their work, they are developing the codes. These are the user stories. They are completing the user stories, whatever work they need to do. They will be updating the board by moving the work across from left to right. So let's say, for example, in our case, chapter 1, we just completed we've completed chapter 1. We put it in the done column. You see, all I'm doing is dragging and dropping. That's all. And then chapter 2 is what we just did today. It's in progress. By the end of the class, we'll put it in the done column. You see, and then chapter 3, that's how I want your own board to be. I want your board to be like this. So that's what you're going to do. You go sit down, use this video, you create your own project, and then you will move your work across to reflect the progress you've made so far. So that is when we come to Tuesday class, I want to see your chapter 2 be in the done column, and then your chapter 3 will be in progress. Well, not actually in progress though. I think one column is missing. So by default, JIRA gives us 3 columns, but I like to add one more column, and you see why. So to add a column, you click on this plus button. I like a column that is called review column. Because remember, when we come to these sessions, we are reviewing the chapters. That's what we are doing. So that's why I feel the need to have that. So I'm going to drag it and put it in here. This is where it should really be. So in your next, before we come to Tuesday class, this is the kind of update I like it. This is how I like your board to look like. So your chapter 3 should be in the review column. Then when we come, we'll review chapter 3. And then once everything is good, we now move it to done. And then you pull chapter 4 and bring it in progress. So this is the current state of the progress we've made in this Scrum Master project so far. That's it. That's all I want you to know today. Any questions?
So
What do
please,
you think?
it's a nice program that when we get a drive, I think it will help us, and it will put us in more organized check and balance, and
Yeah.
it will
Okay.
also. So are you
Awesome.
going to get a video? Are you going to get a video on this?
Of
Oh,
course, you will get the video. Mhm.
lovely.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is what I want to say. Remember that this class is not a tool class. This program is not to teach you JIRA. This program is not to teach you ADO or Azure DevOps. This program is not about teaching you Miro, all of that. However, as part of the benefits of you deciding to take the training with Being Agile Consulting, this is one of the free gifts we give you. We introduce you to this tool, help you become very, very handy with it, so that when you start going for your interviews, you'll be very confident because you've actually used it, you see.
Awesome.
And then
Awesome.
when you start
Awesome.
going to your jobs, you will not be so new to it or so lost that will affect your confidence. So that's why we are doing this. So keep that in mind.
Appreciate
All
that.
right. You're welcome. All right, team. I'm gonna stop sharing right now. That's it for today. In our next when we meet the next time, I hope you will go get your JIRA set up, and then you will also ADO has not changed so much. Follow the guide that I have here on Azure DevOps. So when you hear me say ADO, I'm just referring to Azure DevOps. So you will do the same for Azure DevOps. Come here, you follow this link, click on this link, and then it will allow you to get your Azure DevOps set up just like we've set up the JIRA. You will also go to where you need to select the template. When you're selecting the template, make sure you in Azure DevOps select Agile, because this one is a different tool, but they do the same thing. So the reason why I like to make sure my students are familiar with both JIRA and Azure DevOps is because some organizations are using JIRA. Some organizations are using Azure DevOps. Those are the two most used tools out there. There are many of them, but these two are the most used. So you don't know where you find yourself when you get the job. So that's why I make sure that you guys are familiar with both. So again, you need to also go create a project in Azure DevOps just by following these directions here. So click this link, and then how to set up a project. You watch this video. This is a video that I made explaining how to get it all set up. That's it. So all these resources is to help you get things going right. Don't worry about this sprints, event, estimation. Don't worry about this ones. We'll get there when we are in chapter 5 and 6. So for now, I just need you to get JIRA and Azure DevOps set up. That's all. All right, team. Thank you so much. And I hope you have an amazing weekend. See you on Tuesday.